morning. Welcome to Las Vegas FYI. I'm Marie Siren, and today we have a hot topic, the reality of real estate short sales. I have attorney Samuel Schwartz from the Schwartz Law Firm in studio today to shed some light on the situation. Samuel, in this economic climate, we hear more and more about short sales. What exactly is a short sale?
A short sale is fairly simple. It is where the home is sold for less than the amount owed under the note and mortgage. In other words, the value of the home is short of the debt owed, so a short sale is a sale for less than the debt.
Right, and which laws apply to the short sale process?
Actually, there are several laws that apply to the short sale process, both federal and state. The most important ones in Nevada are obviously the state laws.
And why are the state laws more important?
Well, in Nevada, we're what's considered an anti-deficiency state, which means that lenders are limited in their rights to pursue homeowners for losses they might incur through a foreclosure. What we have here is what's commonly referred to as the one-action rule. Lenders are required to take one action against a homeowner, either foreclose or sue for a deficiency their loss is related to the loan. If they choose to foreclose, when the foreclosure is complete, they then have only 6 months to chase homeowners for their losses, and they generally don't do that. Where the real risk comes in short sales in this market are for homeowners who have two loans. Homeowners who have two loans are at risk because home values have fallen so far. First lenders are taking one action, they're foreclosing, that's it. They typically go away from there, the majority of them. Second lenders, however, are taking no action. They are not pursuing homeowners, they're not participating in the foreclosure because there's no equity for them to participate with. As a result, they're not subject to the one action rule. They don't have a 6-month limit to sue people for deficiencies. They have just a breach of contract claim because a homeowner didn't pay them back. They have 6 years to sue for their losses. That's the real risk in this market, at least under the state laws for foreclosure.
And why is this so complicated?
Well, I think it's complicated for many reasons. One, there's so many laws that apply. The issues banks have with their own balance sheets make it complicated on how they handle foreclosures. What's best for them is often not best for homeowners. They have foreclosure insurance in some places that may make it more profitable for them to foreclose. In addition, for many homeowners, they have two lenders, so it requires two negotiations when you want to obtain a short sale, and so it's twice as complicated.
And what effect does this have on people's credit?
Well, I think it depends. For people who only have one loan and want to take the risk of that their lender's not going to pursue them for a deficiency, if they're foreclosed, that foreclosure stays on their credit for 7 years.
Wow.
And in fact, actually, filing a bankruptcy is typically better for your credit than a foreclosure. For those homeowners who have second lenders, they're looking at a 6-year problem, and so their credit is going to suffer for a long time until that second loan is resolved in some fashion or another.
And how do people repair their credit? I mean, most people are concerned about that if they are, foreclosed on, and how do they repair their credit?
Well, if you've got a foreclosure on your credit, you're going to have a hard time fixing it as a matter of course. You're now talking about another complicated issue, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, there are certain steps homeowners have to take to create claims to fix their credit before they could go after a lender or a creditor for putting a bad mark there. So if a short sale is obtained, credit is much easier to repair after a short sale because those sales come off of credit much quicker, most within a couple of years is what I've been told by most credit specialists. From there, that 7-year problem that comes with a foreclosure is a pretty hard problem to fix. And so from that aspect, for homeowners who wish to protect their assets from second lenders or protect their credit from first lenders, they really are going to do themselves a service by seeking a short sale as opposed to just letting the house go through foreclosure.
Right, and so, I mean, what do you normally say to people that talk to you about, what is the most important thing about repairing your credit?
Well, I think
what is the first step?
Well, the first step is actually to dispute any deficiencies on your credit. If you don't dispute them under the Act, you don't have a claim. So there are several steps when we help homeowners pursue short sales to protect their credit, to protect them from deficiencies, and to protect their credit. And those are some of those complicated problems that arise.
Thank you so much. Sorry, Samuel, for joining us today. Sorry to cut you off so quickly. If you missed anything or you want more information on the Schwartz Law Firm, you can head to ktnv.com and click Las Vegas in the big blue blocks or contact them directly. The information is on your screen. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, make it a great day.
Good morning. Welcome to Las Vegas FYI. I'm Marie Siren. Short sales are typically executed to prevent a home foreclosure, and since Nevada is one of the leaders of foreclosures in the nation, it is a frequent topic. Here to talk about short sales is attorney Samuel Schwartz. Samuel, can you refresh our memory about short sales and what they actually mean?
Sure. Last time when we were here, we discussed that a short sale is a sale of a home for less than the value of the mortgage or mortgages. In other words, the value of the home is short of the amount of money owed to the lenders.
Why do short sales take so long?
Well, there are several reasons for that. First, many of the banks that are dealing with short sales in this city and in this country really didn't have to deal with short sales in a historical, traditional real estate market. Traditionally, real estate prices went up. So when homes were sold, they paid off the mortgages in their entirety. So as a result, banks are really being inundated with lots of short sales that they never had to deal with in the past, and they don't really have the staff yet.
What makes this process so complicated?
Well, several reasons. One, the bank has to do its own analysis, one, of the value of the home. So when you propose an offer, the bank wants to make sure that if they're going to take a loss on the sale because the value of the home doesn't cover their mortgage, they want to be certain that for themselves the value is right, number one. Number two, they want to make sure that the potential buyer is engaged in an arm's length transaction. What I mean by that is they want to make sure there aren't insiders that are working together to buy the house and cause the bank to take a loss, but then the seller really truly controls the home when they're done. So there's a lot of analysis the bank needs to do on its own to make sure that the sale is the best deal the bank could get.
What is the difference when a homeowner has one loan or two loans?
Well, that's an important difference in a short sale, because if a bank has, or a homeowner has two loans on their home, you're really looking at two negotiations. For people who have followed the mortgage market and the industry at all, they probably have read about how mortgages were packaged up and sold to investors all over the country and all over the world. Well, there's a good chance if a homeowner has two mortgages that those mortgages are held by different parties. So to get a short sale approved, both the first and second lender, and in some cases a third lender, have to approve. As a result, you're looking at not one negotiation, but two or three.
Are some banks better than others?
Some banks are more efficient at short sales than others, and I think the best example of that, without naming names, would be a bank negotiator I recently spoke to said 2 years ago his department had 5 people in it. Now they have 57. So to give you a sense of that, those people inside of the bank are new. It's a new industry, really, short sales. They're all learning the market. The laws in states are different when it comes to foreclosure. So you may be working with someone in North Carolina who is just learning about Nevada law and what their bank's rights are.
So your services would be perfect in this situation?
Well, we're uniquely situated in Las Vegas because not only am I a Nevada attorney, I'm also a Nevada real estate broker.
Excellent.
So in our office, we really offer a soup to nuts type of an operation. We list properties, we draft and prepare hardship letters, we gather all the financial documents that banks want to see, including bank statements, tax returns, pay stubs. We work on borrower financial statements. We put an entire package together, find a buyer, put that in a form the bank can appreciate. We've really been doing these since the end of 2007 when the market turned. So we've learned, and sometimes the hard way, what banks want to see, put that entire package together, get it to the bank in an efficient way so we can get the sale closed.
When is a good time to start the short sale process?
It's a good question. The best time to start a short sale process is as soon as you think you want to sell your home. The process takes, depending on the bank, at least 90 days, sometimes 6 months. In part, you could be looking at a couple of weeks to find a buyer. You then have to get the entire package into the bank. The bank has to assign a negotiator. The bank then has to do its own appraisal and its own analysis and its arm's length inspection or interview. And to get all that done can take many months. And so for people who are in default on their loans or potentially facing foreclosure, they don't want to wait too long because we don't have enough time.
Right. Thank you so much, Samuel, for joining us again today. For more information about short sales or to talk to Schwartz Law Firm, please contact them directly at 702-385-5544 or log on to www.schwartzlawyers.com. See you next time.
morning. Welcome to Las Vegas FYI. I'm Marie Siren. Short sales are typically executed to prevent a home foreclosure. Because Nevada is one of the leaders in the nation of foreclosures, it is a frequent topic. I have attorney Sam Schwartz on the show today to talk more in depth about short sales. Sam, I know we talked about short sales previously, but can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly is a short sale?
Well, for people who weren't listening before, just as a reminder, short sales are the sale of a home for less than the amount owed or less than the mortgage. In today's market in Las Vegas, homes values have fallen in many places 50 or 60%.
Right.
The home's worth less than the first mortgage, and so it's sold short of the first mortgage.
And why do sellers need to be prepared for the short sale process?
Well, it's not as simple, unfortunately, as traditional real estate markets, because in a traditional real estate market, lenders are being paid in full when a house is sold. They don't ask for any documentation. They just provide a payoff and receive their money at the sale. In today's market, lenders, under their own servicing agreements for their notes and mortgages or their obligations to their investors, have to make sure that a short sale is appropriate, meaning they don't want to sell a house short for an investor who has a few $1 million in the bank.
Of course.
That wouldn't be fair to them either.
Right.
So sellers need to be prepared because they have to produce lots of documents like bank statements, financial statements, pay stubs or tax returns, sometimes profit and loss statements if they have businesses. So sellers need to be prepared, they need to be coached in many circumstances, and they need to be organized.
And why all those documents?
Well, to come back to those servicing and pooling agreements, often lenders have requirements, sometimes under the Truth in Lending Act, often to their investors really primarily, to demonstrate that a short sale is reasonable for any particular borrower, that homeowner doesn't have the ability to actually pay their mortgage and that a short sale is justified.
Right. And why is an attorney necessary in today's real estate market?
Well, that's a good question because I think in a traditional market, attorneys generally aren't very necessary in a real estate transaction. But in today's environment where the pendulum has swung so far to one side, at least in Las Vegas, in that so many homes are worth less than what is owed, realtors cannot give legal advice to their sellers or buyers, or else they'd be in violation of state law. It's the illegal practice of law. Where lawyers come in handy and where I think our services are appropriate in this kind of environment, and actually I think often necessary, is that we can review and give advice under things like the Truth in Lending Act, the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, federal statutes. We can review and explain to sellers their rights under Nevada Deceptive Trade Practices Act. Did they get a bad loan? Did they have claims? Did their lender put some junk fees in their loans, and give a better analysis and advice about the legal rights where foreclosure may or may not be better. In the past, we've talked about the one action rule in the state, the limited rights of lenders to go after homeowners in a foreclosure context. We can advise sellers of their rights under all those different laws. For a realtor or a real estate broker to do that, they'd be in violation of local law, and they'd get themselves in trouble.
And you specialize in real estate as well.
We do specialize in real estate, yes, thank you. We do Truth in Lending Act litigation, Real Estate Settlement Act procedures litigation. We have pursued not Truth Lending Act, but Nevada Deceptive Trade Practices litigation. We do wrongful foreclosure. And so we are pretty well versed in our office to look across all the different types of claims that a homeowner might have, and then help advise them on whether trying to sell their home or whether some other legal strategy may be appropriate for them. And that's advice that, unfortunately, realtors and brokers who are well qualified in this town in their field just can't give that kind of advice or service.
And that definitely sets you apart in the market.
Well, I'd like to think that we separate ourselves in the market a little bit. I think what makes the Schwartz Law Firm a little bit different is that we do real estate work. We also do a lot of bankruptcy work. And so for some people, bankruptcy strategy may be better for them. They may be able to keep all of their homes in a Chapter 13 or a Chapter 11 reorganization. And they may be able to keep them at today's values. And for other people, maybe selling some homes may be the right strategy for them, and we can advise them on all those different planes.
Thank you so much for joining us again today, Sam. It was wonderful, great information. If you want more information about short sales and the Schwartz Law Firm, you can call them directly at 385-5544. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. Welcome to Las Vegas FYI. I'm Marie Siren. The housing market is always a hot topic here in Las Vegas. There seems to be an endless amount of topics that surround the housing market as well, like short sales. We see that advertised all around these days, but what is it, and is that option right for you? With me is attorney Sam Schwartz of Schwartz Lawyers. Sam, once again, please remind us what short sales are about.
Well, Marie, as we've discussed before, short sales are the sale of a home for less than the note and mortgage owed on the home. So in Las Vegas, for example, where house values have fallen by over half in some areas, many homes are worth less than the amount owed on them, so the sale of the house will be short of the amount owed.
And what can an attorney do for a seller that a real estate agent can't?
Well, there are lots of things, and by way of example, I'm a real estate broker
Right.
and an attorney, and I can tell you that as a real estate broker, I cannot file lawsuits, I cannot assert claims on behalf of homeowners, but as their attorney, I can assert claims or defenses to lenders' claims under the note and mortgage, like Truth in Lending Act claims or Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act claims or Nevada state law claims.
And why should any seller consider paying legal fees to sell their home?
Well, I think that's a good question. And in a prior segment, we talked about that in a traditional real estate market where homes are worth what's owed, that lawyers generally aren't necessary or very little
Right.
in home sales. In today's market, however, especially in Las Vegas where homes are worth half, homeowners really are facing, deficiency claims from their lenders or potential claims of over $100,000 or more. And so in order to help defend them against those deficiency claims, I think in this market, lawyers are necessary to assert those defenses homeowners might have, whether it be under the Truth in Lending Act or whether it might be under the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. In addition, where a lawyer, I think, is more helpful than just a real estate broker alone in today's market, is that when working through a short sale, in the event a lender comes back and says, we think this homeowner can pay something, we'd like to see this homeowner pay $10, $20, $30, sometimes $50,000 of the deficiency claim that exists, a broker can't step forward or a realtor can't step forward and say, well, we think we have these Truth in Lending Act claims and those are good defensively, and so we're going to bring down your deficiency claim because we have all these other defenses. Brokers can't do that. It's illegal. That's the improper practice of law. A lawyer, on the other hand, can assert those claims, and to the extent a lawyer can help a homeowner get out from under what could be $100,000 or more in claims, paying a little bit in legal fees is worth every penny.
Why should they consider paying legal fees to sell their home?
Well, I think that's why, because
Yep.
we can help defend them from some of those claims. In addition, a point that we haven't brought up yet, and that I hear often from homeowners who are looking to sell, are concerns about 1099 income debt forgiveness.
Right.
They say, what happens? Another reason why to hire a lawyer, I'll explain how these dovetail together. There are defenses to 1099 income or debt forgiveness that's given by lenders. One, under the Debt Forgiveness Act, a President Bush era bill that was passed, if homeowners sell their primary residence in a short sale, they pay no 1099 debt forgiveness income. It's all forgiven in this market. That bill's only good through 2012, and so
Just a couple years left.
Correct. And so to analyze what homeowners can do under that bill is something that a lawyer needs to tell them. It's something a broker needs to be careful on what they tell. In addition, there are limitations on deficiency claims under Nevada law. That's something that really is suited for a lawyer to explain, not a broker. And last, there are internal revenue limitations under Section 108 of the Internal Revenue Code on deficiencies and what you can do with 1099 income, and that's really for a lawyer to explain, not a broker.
And quickly, how does credit repair work?
Another good question. Credit repair relates to the deficiencies that come from homeowners when they don't make payments or when short sales are done. There are steps that have to be taken under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, meaning that you have to actually assert a claim under the Reporting Act to have one against the lender. And that's something else that really lawyers need to do for people, and why homeowners should think about paying legal fees, and that we can help fight off deficiencies, help create claims under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and help clean up credit when short sales are done.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've run out of time. For more information about short sales and Schwartz Law Firm, you can call them directly at 385-5544. See you next time on Las Vegas FYI. Have a great day. morning. Welcome to Las Vegas FYI. I'm Marie Siren. Bankruptcy is a word that we talk about a lot, but what does it entail? I have attorney Sam Schwartz on the show to shed some light on the reality of bankruptcy and the options that are available. Sam, I know there are a few different types of bankruptcy. Can you share those with us?
Sure. There are actually several types of bankruptcies, but there are 3 chapters in the Bankruptcy Code that apply to individuals or consumers. The first is Chapter 7, the second is Chapter 13, and the third is Chapter 11.
Can you tell us a little bit about each one of those?
Sure, of course. Chapter 7 is liquidation, and really it's liquidation for everyone. So whether they are individuals, people, consumers, or companies like Circuit City, can end up in a Chapter 7 liquidation. Chapter 13 is reorganization for individuals. That's the payment plan kind of bankruptcy, the one where the Bankruptcy Code says you make enough money where we think you can pay something back, and so that's Chapter 13. Chapter 11 is traditionally for businesses, but or for example, Stations Casinos, the Fountain Blue are both in Chapter 11 bankruptcies.
Right.
But certain individuals who make too much money or have too much debt can be pushed out of a Chapter 13 reorganization, as we call them, into a Chapter 11 reorganization.
And how do the different bankruptcies work? I mean, besides that, is there one chapter that's better than another?
Well, one chapter isn't necessarily better than another. A big part of it really depends on what people are trying to accomplish or what they can afford. Chapter 7 is the quickest of bankruptcies. It's the one where you liquidate. You pay nothing back. People can protect things. They can protect their homestead. They can protect one car per person. They can protect the things in their homes. They can protect their retirement accounts. But they're liquidating what other assets that aren't protected under the code, and that makes it go fast because a trustee is appointed in the case to marshal the process and do the work, and so everything goes quickly. Those cases are over in as little as 4 months.
It's a benefit.
It's a benefit, right. So it's the truest of fresh starts, right, that you're in and out of bankruptcy relatively quickly and can begin rebuilding your life. Chapter 13 cases apply to people who make a little bit too much money. And what a Chapter 13 case does is the Bankruptcy Code says if you're over median income in this city for your household size, the code presumes you can pay something back. And so they put you in a payment plan. It could be as little as $100 a month. It could be several $1,000s a month depending on the person's income, not to exceed. You never will have to pay back more than what you owe.
Is there a particular cost that's assigned to each one of these bankruptcies?
For sure. And from a Chapter 13 to a Chapter 11, both of which are reorganizations, what happens to people is that if they're over median income, they get pushed out of a Chapter 7 case and into a Chapter 13 case, a payment plan. However, if you have too much debt under the code, which is $336,000 of unsecured debt or $1,010,000 of secured debt, roughly, you get pushed out of a Chapter 13 case and into Chapter 11. The Bankruptcy Code basically says you make too much money to liquidate, you have too much debt to do a simple 13 case, we're going to push you into Chapter 11. Personally, I think it's the best place for people to go, but it's also the most expensive, which is, we can talk about that as well if you'd like.
Yeah, please do.
Well, the costs are the least expensive is a Chapter 7 case. The reason for that is a trustee, again, comes in, takes control of the process, so there's not a lot for your lawyer to do once the case starts.
Okay.
It moves relatively quickly. In a Chapter 13 case, there's a lot more to do. You have a plan to negotiate. Your lawyers have to work with your creditors in some cases, with trustees in some cases, to work out your payment plan. So there's more ongoing work. The case could take 4 to 6 months to get finished, and so it's more expensive. In a Chapter 11 case, there's almost 5 times as much work that comes from a Chapter 13 case, so it's much more expensive. And the example I like to give is that a Chapter 13 case has a filing fee with the court of $274. A Chapter 11 case, the filing fee is $1,039. So the court itself is looking at the 2 cases as much more expensive, and so it's also more expensive for the client as well.
And quickly, how does a Schwartz law firm, what are the benefits of filing with you rather than another law firm?
Well, thank you. It's a good question. My firm is uniquely qualified in that we have a real estate division and we also have the bankruptcy division. And so we can help people decide whether selling homes is better for them or restructuring is better for them, or based on their income level, they really should just be liquidating and they should walk. So we can give people a broad spectrum of options.
Thank you so much for joining us again. For more information about bankruptcy, check out schwartzlawfirm.com.